Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. So today I am making a very different video. I'm making a game analysis video. Which is something I've kind of been wanting to do for a long time. And in my other Minecraft video, it was my quote-unquote big project. So yeah, let's get right into it. I'm actually working on a really...
Are you sure about that?
And I think y'all are going to like it. And yes, this is the project. I'm making a game analysis on the game known as Dead Rising. And the topic is going to be that it's probably one of the most underrated games out there. Because it doesn't have to be a perfect game to be an underrated game. And it's really fun, and we're just gonna dive into that. I've really enjoyed the game ever since I've been playing it, and I always come back for some more. So yeah, let's get into it. And this is the first time I'm actually writing a script for a video. Well, not right now. I'm just winging this one. But for when I actually start talking, I'm gonna have a script. So yes, let's get into why Dead Rising is probably one of the most underrated games of all time. Let's get into it. Now before we get into the gameplay, which is the main segment of the video, I would like to talk about the game company, which is Capcom. So, when you think of Capcom and the games they made / developed, you would usually think of games like Mega Man and maybe Street Fighter and some Resident Evil. So they're very well known in that part of the community. The person who made it, let me see if I can pronounce his name real quick. Keiji Inufune. He's basically a Japanese video game producer.
朋友是一个坚韧不拔的纪录片，在香港这座城市的设置。
So he produced these video games, and a lot of them were Dead Rising and Mega Man and Street Fighter and Resident Evil. So for something as well known as those, Dead Rising is just not really included in there, which is kind of a strange phenomenon, because Dead Rising is made by Capcom, which, as we clearly saw, is a very popular game company in some areas of gaming. So for Dead Rising to not be very popular, that's just kind of strange. But yeah, so now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about the gameplay. Anything you can pick up, you can use. That is basically what you can do in Dead Rising. If you can find it on the ground and pick it up, you can use it to murder zombos. I'm dead serious. You can pick up a potted plant and freaking throw it at a zombie. And as you can see from the recording, which I did not get, I just found it from someone on YouTube. I will link it in the description. Thank you. I mean, I didn't really ask, but... But as you can see, there is a bowling ball in this guy's hand. He can literally bowl it to some zombies and mow them down. That is awesome. He has a frying pan. He could have heated it up, and he's burning zombies. Like, that is awesome. That's just a huge point for the game right there, which is a major impact for the gameplay, because you can literally pick up anything and use it to your advantage. Now, there are some other weapons that are way better than others and that you can definitely overuse and abuse to your advantage. So like, let's say every time you leave an area of the map, you have to load through because the game just couldn't load it, which, to be fair, is, I'm not mad about that because the game did come out in 2006, so yeah. But yes, if you can pick up anything and use it, that is freaking awesome. Now, another aspect of the gameplay is psychopaths, aka bosses. So basically, this guy named Otis calls you, right? And this will get on the story. We're going to get into that segment later. But this guy named Otis in like some sort of safe house in the story calls you, right? And here's the most annoying thing ever. I mean, let's be honest. Every time he calls you, he just literally stops what you're doing. You can't do anything. The only thing you can do is move. And let's say you get grabbed by a zombie and then freaking... like, you can't do anything and you have to kill the zombie. He will call you back and then he will call you rude because you hung up on him. Like, shut up, Otis. No one likes you. However, rip Otis.
I will murder you and your family.
Okay.
Just saying. So yes, if you get a call from Otis, he will notify you of cases and random events that are happening throughout the mall. And in some of those cases, you can encounter a psychopath. And basically, they're people who have been worn out from the zombie outbreak and they're just gone crazy. And they actually have stories behind them. If you want to see me do an analysis video on that, leave a comment. But yeah, that's freaking awesome. And then the psychopaths have a freaking cutscene showing what you're doing, and then you kill them and there's a death scene, but not all the time, because sometimes there can be different events with the bosses, etc. So yes, different stuff can happen, but it's interesting. And if they have a weapon, you can use it to your advantage and abuse it if you're that person. Now, for instance, there's this clown who has double chainsaws, and they are powerful. Like, you only need those chainsaws and you will win the game. That's all you need to win the game. It's kind of crazy. Okay, now, secondly, the AI. The AI is so dumb. It makes you want to pull your brain out and crush it on your Xbox, laptop, PS4, whatever you're playing it on. It is the most infuriating thing ever. Like, literally, because the time being 2006, they couldn't really do a lot with the NPCs. So, like, you can save people, right? And bring them back to the safe house. And those people are so stupid. They are mind-numbingly dumb. I mean, they are so stupid. Like, do not give them any of your weapons, please. Because if you give them one of your weapons, they will just end up shooting you with it. That's how stupid they are. They won't even use it. Oh my god. My brain hurts just from talking about those idiots. But, it's okay. Because there is an achievement if you get every single survivor that Otis calls you about into the safe house. And it is so rewarding. Oh my god. So, yeah. Now, next one. Drinks. No, not at a bar. So, you can blend drinks, or foods for that matter. So, if you find a place with a blender, and you have a box of cookies in your inventory and some beer, you can mix it and you can get a drink. Now, there are some different drinks. I do not know all of them, but some are like Quick Step, and if you drink it, you will move very fast for a certain amount of time. Or Untouchable, where zombies just don't really notice you. And Zombates, where zombies are super attracted to you. And there's a lot of cool stuff. So I really appreciate that they did that. Next one, stores. You are in a shopping mall. There's a multitude of stores you can go inside of. The options are really limitless. And you can go inside of every single store, find out different weapons, look at different things, and they do put a lot of quality and stuff into their stores and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Dead Rising. Now, this isn't really part of the gameplay, but I wouldn't say this goes into the story either. But the story, it's not the best story of all time, but it's a good story. It's a fun story. So at least they tried to make it entertaining, and it was entertaining. It was fun to play and stuff like that. So good job. Next is the time limit. So whenever you go into the mall, there is a time limit to find out what is happening with why are there zombies in a shopping mall and stuff like that. And there will be a helicopter that will pick you up in 72 hours. So you have to uncover the truth in those 72 hours. So you have to get everything done in a timely manner. You can't just lollygag around the mall, which does put a sense of drive in the player.
Hello, my name is Alia, and today I am going to be playing
Audio Jungle.
Because although there isn't a free roam, you can still just have all the fun by doing that. And it's pretty cool. Because you can still explore everything. You can get a lot of achievements and still finish the story with that time limit. So it's good, rewarding, but it still restricts you. So that's good. As of recording this is after editing the story part of the video. And I realized that I did miss a few things, and I'm sure even after editing I will miss a few things, but there are some gameplay aspects that I want to add, just a few. And one is photography. Since you are a photojournalist, you obviously have a camera and you get to use that to your advantage. Not really in a story aspect, but in a gameplay aspect, it's fun to use because you can like snap pictures of people in different types of categories. Like if you snap a zombie wearing a surfbot mask, then you will get a humorous thing. Or if you just snap a zombie, it will be horror. Or if you snap someone hitting a zombie, it'll be brutality, and so on and so forth. And I think it does add a different level of gameplay, and you can like zoom in onto things to look at different things. And this is a big one. Depending on the type of pictures you have, it could give you a lot of PP. Don't you even dare. Basically, PP is prestige points, which are for leveling up, which we will get into right here. So, PP, prestige points. Leveling up is a big factor in the game. So you can get PP by doing a lot of things. A, taking pictures, or B, just by saving survivors, doing psychopath missions, and kind of doing just regular things on the go. And there are some different bonuses like hidden throughout the game. So that is pretty cool. And it is very crucial when it comes to the gameplay aspect because it increases your health, increases your speed, increases your throw distance, and increases so many things. It increases the stock you have in your inventory, and it does help a lot in the gameplay because by the time you get to like level 50, which is maxed out, you're basically unstoppable, which is really helpful when it comes to like destroying the final boss or something. So yeah, that is a big one, and I'm surprised I missed that. And honestly, for the most part, that is the gameplay wrapped up. And I'm sure there is a lot of other stuff that I didn't cover, but I didn't really want to do everything. But yeah, that is the most of it covered. Now, let's get into the story. Basically, the story begins with you, Frank West, which is a protagonist. He is in a helicopter, and I'll say you for Frank. So you are in a helicopter, and you are with this guy, I forget the name.
NANI? 你怎么敢忘记我的名?
But he's the pilot of the helicopter. And basically, you are flying over Colorado, and then you see strange things. Strange things that happen every day in a small town of Colorado. So you want to see what's happening. So you land on the only interesting place that is in Willamette, the Parkview Mall. And basically, you land on the helipad with a little bit of trouble encountering the military, but you don't have to deal with that. So, you land in there. You try to get through the main area of the mall by going through the security room. And once you find your way there, you find some survivors and a crazy fat guy telling you that there's zombies coming along. Which isn't good until we see the zombies hoarded outside of the doors, which puts a sense of fear in the player. And then there's this crazy, stupid, dumb, ugly old lady.
Do not bully people.
Her dog is stuck with the zombies outside of the doors, and she needs to save her dog for some reason. So she opens the doors, letting all of the zombies inside. So that's not good.
Betrayal.
So we fight our way through zombies, and then get upstairs, and then go back to where the security room is. And there are a few survivors, such as a guy named Brad, Otis, which we've already covered, and Jesse. And Brad and Jesse are in DHS.
Stop! You violated the law.
Which we don't know yet. You are trying to uncover what is happening here. However, Brad does not want to let you in his little secret. So as Frank wants to roam through the mall and trying to cover his own story, he encounters Jesse searching for Brad because she's nervous about him and where he is.
Well, I don't think they had zombie-infested malls in mind when they wrote those regulations.
So Frank offers to find him because he's covered wars, you know.
Kinda. I've covered wars, you know.
Stream sniping.
And then you save Brad, and then you go to where Brad is, which is in the food court, and then you have a shootout with this guy named Carlito, who will be very important in the story later. However, before you can kill him, he manages to get away. So, what you do is you and Brad go through one of the plazas and get to the entrance plaza, which is where you were in the beginning. And then this crazy guy named Barnaby, which was there before, I forgot to mention, he was in there at the beginning. He was like yelling at you. He was basically being a big boomer.
Go away.
You find him, and then you offer him protection in order for his answers that he knows about the outbreak, but he's not buying. So, we can't really do anything with that. So that's not really good. So then, after a little while, Jesse finds an image in one of the monitors. You see Barnaby strung up, and you need to save him. So you and Brad head out, and then go into the entrance plaza of the mall, back where the beginning was. And then you have another gunfight with Carlito. And then, Brad and Carlito both come out injured in that fight.
I'm dying. Help me.
And Brad very well could die.
Why? Why?
So you have to go on a medicine run for him. So you go into one of the grocery stores in one of the northern areas of the mall. And you encounter this crazy guy, which is a psychopath, by the way. Which is freaking awesome. And yeah, you kill him. And then you get the medicine and then go back to him. And then everything's good for a little while. All Brad needs is a little bit of rest. And then Barnaby, while you were saving him, you did tell Jesse that Barnaby said something about this thing called Santa Cabeza, which you do not know about yet. And then, after doing a little bit of free roaming, you go back to the security room, because Otis calls you and is like, "Hey, what's good?" And then he takes you to the security room.
You ashy elbow.
And then you see a girl in the monitor in what appears to be next to the food store, which you killed that psychopath in.
Kill test.
You head out to find her, and you do have a gunfight with her because she's not safe with you, but you do manage to get her to talk a little bit. And then she's saying, comment down F for Frank, that the zombies aren't the problem, the humans are, and really her brother, which is Carlito, started all of this to get revenge because his hometown was destroyed due to the zombies and the government and the Americans. So, America bad, basically. And you agree to meet with her at midnight in the plaza to exchange information. However, that does not go very smoothly because she almost gets bit, and she got shot by Carlito trying to ask Carlito for information and stuff like that. So you bring her back to the security room and tell Jesse and Brad everything. And then you do a little bit of free roam, and then Isabella wakes up, and then she tells Jesse and Brad everything that she knows about the zombies and why it's the Americans' fault. And then Barnaby also just comes up out of nowhere. He was ahead of the zombie breeding experiment, and he does seem to show signs of zombification after almost biting Jesse. And then he does go Juice WRLD for a minute. And then he tells Frank how much Americans eat a day, blah blah blah, and how the thing was absolutely necessary. And then he turns into a zombie and then
gets killed.
So you just do a little bit of free roam, and then you hear over the intercoms Carlito saying, "I'm sorry, Isabella, this is the last resort." And you're confused what this means. And then Otis calls you about it, saying that Isabella wants to talk to you about it. And then she does tell you a little bit about it, saying that this is Carlito's last resort. Basically, he's too cornered and he's going to die, so why not kill everyone with him? He plants his bombs in the underground area of the mall, and you need to stop them, otherwise the bombs would spread queens, which are basically zombie wasps, which turn things into zombies. He will spread queens into the atmosphere and then could turn the whole entire world into zombies. So yes, we need to stop that, and then we do prove successful with very little time to spare. Also, while you and Brad try to stop Carlito, Brad tragically dies while trying to stop Carlito and the bombs. He was kind of screwed. So now that we think we've stopped everything that Carlito is planning, we need to make sure that everything has been stopped so that way nothing bad happens. So Isabella takes us to Carlito's hideout in one of the plazas of the mall. And she tries to get into his computer, but she can't really get into it because it's password protected. And she's trying to think of everything family related and stuff like that and can't really find it. And then Jesse sees this thing in the monitor, and it's this butcher dragging Carlito. And you
Stop it. Get some.
need to go save him because you need to have a long, stern talk with him. You do kill the butcher who tries to cook up Carlito and make you eat him. But you kill him, and Carlito is basically about to die. You can't get any information out of him. However, Carlito does give you a locket that is really special to him and his family, and then you give it to Isabella, saying that Carlito wanted Isabella to have it. And then things get really emotional for a second because she says, and then she's like, oh my god, this is the family saying, oh my god, I should have thought of this. And of course, it's the password to the computer. And she's also really emotional because, you know, her mom and dad died. So, yeah. And then she gets into the computer. Also, before a little of this happened, there was a little jamming device which we unjammed with Carlito's password. And now that the device is unjammed, Jesse was able to contact the emergency line for DHS. But that does not deem successful after she tells Frank the news, in which the government will deny all knowledge of what happened at the Parkview Mall, and the special forces will arrive for cleanup. Which is not good. So then you just do a little bit of free roaming. You don't really know what to do. And then in the middle of a free roam, you get a cutscene showing something that Frank wouldn't know from Frank's point of view. But basically, the special forces arrive in the security room, and they see Jessie, and they set up a deal where if they keep her alive, she promises not to tell anything about the mall. And she agrees, although the person talking to her tragically dies because Jessie turns into a zombie. I know, plot twist, am I right? And then, once you get that cutscene, if you're a normal person, you would go back to the security room to see what would happen, or to see what happened, and you find Jessie's body, and you also find a note from Otis saying that he left, and yes, he does tragically die later, but that's not really in the story. That's just kind of like an Easter egg in one of the newer games. So then at that point, you see a cutscene of the military and all the shooting. You see the military arriving in the mall, and really all you hear are gunshots. Really, all you're really trying to do is just free roam, really, if that's what you want to call it.
Okay.
And then Isabella wants you to visit her. She says that the military is in favor of their operation, and that it's best to just leave because the 72 hours are almost up and the helicopter is about to be here in a few hours. So, going with Isabella's wishes, you go to the helipad where the guy is supposed to pick you up, but you leave Isabella in the room and wait for the guy to pick you up, and he does see you, and he's like,
Oh my god, he actually made it.
and then he goes to him and he's like, I'm coming. And then Frank sees through the glass that there's a zombie behind him, and then he eats the guy alive, and yes, he does not get picked up by the helicopter, and then everything sucks. And then he's kind of just like, what am I gonna do? He's kind of just in shock and confusion, and it's really well played out. And he just lays there, just so blank. And the zombies all come up from nowhere, and then BAM! The credits roll. But you go into overtime mode. So the game is not over yet. So then, whenever the end of the credits roll, you see Frank getting grabbed by a zombie and about to get his face eaten until BOOM! The zombie's dead, and Isabella shoots the zombie, and Frank is still in shock, confused, and like just blank stare face. It's like really creepy. However, Isabella does manage to carry Frank all the way back to the hideout where they are at. And then they discuss how Frank is going to turn into a zombie, but he does have a very high level of resistance. So Bank is utterly a ticking time bomb, which isn't good. So basically, she has a good idea, saying that if they extract the hormones from McQueen and maybe some other products, she can make kind of like a vaccine for him, making the zombification delayed for an extended period of time until they find a cure for something like that. So Frank goes with it, and he goes scavenging all around the mall looking for products that she needs. And now basically the only threat is the military, because seeing
a lot of dead zombies on the ground and hearing the calm, relaxing mall music is truly disturbing.
So I don't know what about it. It's more disturbing than seeing zombies in a mall with relaxing mall music. So while you get all those items, when you're trying to get back to Isabella, you see this clock tower which the helicopter crashed into. And then you look inside, and then there's a whole horde of zombies, shoulder to shoulder, and they probably won't let you get out, even if there is a way out of there. You tell Isabella about it, and you give Isabella all the products for her little vaccine. You kind of just discuss the zombie stuff, and then Frank also needs 10 queens for Isabella's little thing to work, so you just do that. But yeah, there's now magically zombies in the mall again, so don't ask me why.
But why?
Then once you get 10 queens, which in the gameplay aspect is gotten by killing zombies, and also once Isabella gives you the vaccine, she tells you that she has been working on this pheromone that basically the zombies think it smells bad, and Frank makes her bring it to the clock tower, and he's right, there's a lot of zombies, and Isabella is becoming doubtful about this, but she manages to let them go through the clock tower with the pheromone, or the perfume. So once you go through the tunnels, you find that the military's already been there. So you drive with the vehicle, hoping to look for an escape area through the tunnels, or through the outside of the tunnels. However, there is a tank that is following you, and you take it out using the mounted gun on the back of your vehicle. However, his tank isn't fully destroyed, and he goes out and tells you that he wasn't supposed to interfere with the operation. The Santa Cabeza operation was smooth, and people just got in the way of it. And all he saw was just an operation in his eyes, and he didn't understand that lives were taken. And Frank was upset about that, and probably Isabella, but you know, she wasn't really in there. She was kind of defending zombies on a mounted gun. You get really mad at Brock, which is the head of the military that you were talking to, and you kind of have an all-out kung fu fight in there. And you know, if you're like good at the game, you win the fight, and then he falls backwards into the zombies, eaten alive. And really, nothing else happens, but you see Frank screaming and Isabella fighting off zombies. And that is the end of the game. And once the credits roll, you see that Frank West managed to escape the town of Willamette alive, with the information of the incident with him. And the news shocked people throughout the world, leading the US government to admit at least a partial compatibility in the livestock operation. However, no connection to the Willamette incident was acknowledged, and the events that occurred were deemed as a work of a terrorist group. And the people of the world soon forgot about the incident. And that's the end of the game. Boom. There were some plot holes, but I think it was a pretty fun and engaging story for what it's worth. So I think it was really fun. So yeah, let's get into my final thoughts of the game. First of all, I want to say thank you for making it to the end of the video. I really appreciate you watching. This video took a lot of time to make, and as you can tell by the end of the story area, it kind of got a little boring, and that's kind of because the end of the game got a little boring, but I tried my best. I really did, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. With that being said, I think Dead Rising, although being a little dated, it still kind of holds up to this day, and with the gameplay mechanics and the pretty decent story, even though with a little plot holes and predictable storyline here and there, I think it still holds up to this day, and I'd give it like a solid 8.5 out of 10. Nice. Because it has a lot of zombies on screen, and it has all this stuff, and we gotta remember this came out in 2006, and there were a lot of obstacles that they had to overcome, but they did it. I think it did a pretty good job at it, and the game was extremely fun. And I think there were some things in the story that I kind of got mixed up or kind of skipped over, but it really didn't alter the ending or whatever, so don't worry about that. But yeah, if you guys do want to see me do a playthrough of this game, then comment down below. I mean, you guys already know the story and how to play it, but still, yeah. I recommend playing it. If you guys want me to cover Dead Rising 2 and then Dead Rising 3 and the other Dead Risings, then I will definitely do that for you guys. Just leave a comment. So by the way guys, on a little side note, I'm probably going to start streaming soon, probably just like for an hour on the weekends, just playing random video games. Yeah, just thought I'd let you guys know. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.